Welcome, everyone, to Family Comes First. I'm Vincent J. Russo.
And I'm Victoria Roberts Drogin. Thank you for joining us today. In today's modern world, everyone is living longer. In fact, the fastest growing age group is the 90 and older group, over 2 million strong.
So one might ask, what do Legos have to do with 90-year-olds?
What do they?
Today, we will find out as Linda Levy shares the story of her 97-year-old father, Manny Silberman, and his incredible Legos.
He is inspiring. We will also meet with our experts, Vicki Elner from Senior Umbrella Network Brooklyn, and Deanna Ebley, an associate with your law firm, Vincent, to discuss elder care issues facing our seniors who want to remain at home. But first, let's take a look at Manny's world.
My name is Manny Silberman. I am 97 years old. I met my wife. I was stationed at Mitchell Field, which was a local air base, and I went to a dance that was controlled by some other source. And while I was there, my wife Sylvia was also attending the same dance, and I got to know her by asking her to dance. She was a good-looking chick, and she danced rather well. Okay. And it went on to be our real pastime. After I was discharged, we used to go dancing all the time after we were married. I was in the service during the World War II. I was in the Air Force. I was a master sergeant. Basically, I was a mechanic. Well, I could be cute and say, if you went up in the planes, you could get killed. But I maintained a ground crew way of doing my job, and so it cut down the minute and then the time I had to fly in the airplanes. It was my daughter Barbara who helped me decide to pursue the pastime that the Legos offered me. She saw that there was such a thing possible, and I liked what they had to offer as far as passing my time rather than just, let's say, a lot of men my age would just sit and watch television or fall asleep in an easy chair. So we pursued the pursuit of creating the things you see around me by creating something that had some meaning, and that's the reason I pursued the Lego the way of passing my time away. We still continue doing it as long as the Legos are available or were available, and that goes on till this very day. I have been offered to move to live with them, but I didn't think it was at the point in my life where it was really necessary, as long as we could find something that would pass my time away in a creative way.
We are talking today about senior living and how to live well and have a great quality of life at all ages.
Victoria, this is going to be an awesome show, a real feel-good show.
Very excited. Joining
us today is Linda Levy to talk about her father, Manny Silberman, who's decided he's going to stay at home, and he's in his 90s. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so your father is sort of a minor celebrity in some ways, and we discovered him because of his passion for Legos. And we'll talk about that, but I want to back up a little bit because I know you had mentioned to us that he recently lost his wife, your mom.
Yes.
And that's a terribly traumatic event at any age. But he was how old?
My dad was then almost 95.
Yeah.
Only 95, huh?
Yes, only 95.
And now he's 97.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And they were very much in love.
Very much in love, very connected, long-term marriage, basically connected at the hip.
They were both living at home together.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yes,
so they were married 67 years?
67 years.
Wow,
67
God bless them.
years, yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And wonderful.
Yes, it is amazing.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult.
Yeah.
It was a gigantic loss. My dad is extremely stoic, and even today, he will rarely talk about her. I think it's just perhaps too emotional.
It's in his heart.
It's in his heart. And honestly, he wears a dog tag. My sister had a dog tag made of my mother and my dad at some affair. So he wears the dog tag every day. And
So
I
he
will
had,
be
so
there.
he had fought in World War II?
Yes, yes. So he takes the dog tag, and every day we'll lift it and kiss it.
Well,
I
when he mentioned,
No.
about this good-looking chick, all right,
my
I
mother,
said,
yes.
man, this person has a lot of energy and spunk.
Oh no! But he never showed that side. I mean, if he was wild man or party man, he was very conservative with his daughters. So we would get. I know he has a sense of humor because I see glimmers of it still, and that's the joy. That's the joy.
And you said he was always very creative and liked to work with his hands, liked to build things. I know he was an engineer. He told us, in the package that we had watched, he
Yes.
told us about his career and how he worked on planes.
He worked. He was in the Army Air Force, and he was a mechanic, and he became a master sergeant. It's defined him his entire life. And as I grew up, he would always tinker around the house and make projects and build things. So
It's a talent I do not have.
Yes, no, me
I
neither.
cannot fix anything. But Legos obviously is the big deal right now
it's
here.
the
But
love of his life,
before you get there, talk about the other hobbies that led to the Legos.
Well, you had to keep him engaged after his wife died.
Yeah.
And
yes, after my mom died, it was how to keep him occupied.
Yeah.
Right?
He did not want to live with my sister and me, and my sister decided that she would introduce him to a jigsaw puzzle,
Okay.
but the big ones, the 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
Those make me nervous.
Yes, they make me nervous, and I have
a real
tried,
art.
but I'm not really that good.
But he liked it.
He liked it. In fact, there was one or two caregivers who would sit with him
Oh, isn't that
and
nice?
participate,
Oh,
and which was really,
That's very special.
it was special too.
Yeah, to find that bond over something.
Yes.
So we mastered
Yeah. The 1,000
these
pieces.
puzzles,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
who came up with the idea of bringing the first Lego set home?
It's my sister.
Okay.
My sister. So
Barbara, right?
My sister Barbara brought the first Lego set home, and so we became a team.
Was it plane? Was it a plane?
It was the plane.
It was the plane because that tied right back into his past.
It was a
His
vintage
career.
plane. Absolutely, it was a vintage plane. So that was finished, and it was like, okay, what's going to be
took
next?
to it immediately. He saw it, knew
Oh my
immediately
God.
what
he,
to do.
He lived and breathed and talked.
That's
Lego.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
It was a beautiful thing. It breathed.
Yeah.
It really breathed life into him,
Yeah.
and
The
it gave
company
him
needs to
purpose.
hire him for
Yeah.
public
Yes.
relations.
Oh yes.
Do a commercial.
I mean,
Yes.
come on.
Yeah. Or
This is
supply him
amazing,
for
the
life,
detail.
I think.
Oh, well, interestingly enough, my sister has become not friends, but connected to the woman who sells them,
Yeah.
the manager right here at Roosevelt Field,
Oh, isn't
at the
that
Lego
something?
store. So
Well, I'm gonna
He's
say
a
right now,
spokesperson.
right on TV,
Yeah.
that they need to hire Manny Silberman if they want to, promote Legos the right way
That's right. With passion.
with passion.
yes,
That's right.
yes, I agree.
Wonderful.
Now, Dad's been able to stay at home
Yes,
all this time, and so I assume he has help.
he does.
And I know that you and your sister are informal caregivers, but he also has formal caregivers in the house?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes. I remember years ago, when I visited my parents, I would sit with my mom, and I made a promise to her that I would never put her in a facility. And so when the time came where they needed assistance, I was able to connect with an excellent elder care lawyer
Great.
who helped me through the process.
Your dad's daily routine. How does he spend his time? Tell us a little bit about his day, about your interaction with him. I can tell, we've spoken with you how much you love him, and it shines from you.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about him as a person and about your relationship with him now, today, as an adult.
Today?
Yeah.
I don't know that it's any different from when I was growing up. He's a very wise man, stable, and he's always been, to me, a voice of reason, even though perhaps I've not always agreed. I've not always agreed with,
What? A daughter not agreeing with her
Of
father?
course, of course. But he lives for his daughters. He lived for his wife.
Grandchildren?
Yes, he has 2 grandchildren who are the apples of his eye. I have a nephew, Ian, and a niece, Andrea, and they visit.
Yeah.
Everyone participates
Well,
in
what's
trying
great-
to keep Dad happy.
Yeah, what's great is that you all live on Long Island, so you're able to do that. In a mobile society today,
Yes.
there are often children who unfortunately live hundreds of, not thousands of miles away. And so this is
Becomes
really
harder.
wonderful that he's surrounded by his
I would-
2 daughters and grandchildren.
Oh, absolutely. And we all take turns. There isn't a day that goes by that one of us isn't there spending time with him
That's very
and
special.
and helping out with the Legos.
Yeah. So you all do Legos now. You're all involved in the...
Well,
Yes, to a degree. Yes, absolutely. Yes,
So
we're
are there
involved.
more Lego challenges out there, or
Yes, there has to be. No, there has to be. There has to be.
What's been his favorite project so far that you think?
The favorite beside the plane
The
was
first one.
probably the Tower of the Tower Bridge
Yes.
in England, which
Yes.
is unbelievable. Just finished the Australian Opera House,
Wonderful.
which was a very big project. That took a long time,
Yeah.
and now I think it's a cargo plane. But he's finished at least 20 odd projects.
wow.
Yes, there are Lego villages and planes and trucks and robots. The robot,
Yeah.
the Lego robot.
It's just so wonderful, the love that you obviously have for your dad, and to see him doing so well at his age. We can't thank you enough for being on our show
Wow.
today.
Thank you for sharing this and
Yeah.
giving me the opportunity. So maybe other people will be able to,
Enjoy the later years with a
be
lot of love
inspired
and fun.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will get more information on how seniors can successfully stay at home while getting the care that they need.
Welcome back to Family Comes First. We just heard from Linda Levy talking in such a loving way about her father, Manny Silberman.
And although Manny is well into his 90s, as you saw, he has maintained his independence by living at home. And with more Americans living longer lives, choosing where to live raises a number of complex issues.
Joining us now to shed light on this subject is Vicki Elner, president of Senior Umbrella Network Brooklyn, and Deanna Ebley of my law firm. Welcome.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
both.
Thank you.
We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you.
Great. So, Vicki, tell us a little bit about your organization and what services you provide.
Senior Umbrella Network of Brooklyn, if I had to just sum it up, is a advocacy organization that focuses on issues related to keeping seniors safe and focusing on the family and integrating different programs that we have into the community.
And how do you keep an aging loved one engaged when they're at home? That must be such a challenge.
It's a challenge, but it could be what I call a journey also, focusing on your loved one in terms of, what keeps them motivated, what keeps them engaged.
So it's different for everyone based on their personalities.
Yes, and how the families and the outside, whether it's friends, can interconnect and capture what interests someone. And I think that people maintain their integrity through their life's journey, and those are the things, are the elements that I think incorporate into keeping somebody at home, happy, and motivated.
Well, the happy and motivated part is so important. Deanna, as an elder law attorney, you're always working with seniors and their families. What steps should seniors be taking to ensure that they can stay at home?
The first step they really should take is they should get somebody in the profession involved, like a geriatric care manager, because if they want to stay home, they want to make sure that their home accommodates their needs. So it could be something as simple as grab bars in the shower so that they can shower themselves, or, chairlift for the stairs, but you want to have somebody who could come in and assess the different apparatus that might help them stay in the home.
Yeah, the last thing you want to have is the home become a prison or a
an
barrier to living independently. And simple little things, I just visited my parents in Florida, and the rugs in the apartment can create an issue with tripping.
Right.
Yes,
You know,
very
Mom,
much so.
please take the rug out. You don't need the rug.
It's hard, though. It's hard.
Yeah, that's
I guess
right.
it's a balance also between having them do as much as they still can, because that must preserve a feeling of independence.
Right.
And
And they
then-
become dependent sometimes. If you start doing it for them,
Right,
then they
right.
just stop thinking they can do it.
Right, and they stop doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So independence, there's legal and planning issues that families need to address, and then there's also what we were talking about is the engagement issues. So nuts and bolts, what are some of the steps that help seniors live independently in their minds and their bodies?
It's as mentioned, it's a careful assessment. What's realistic, what services can be implemented in the home, what can keep people safe. We always look at what's the safest, most appropriate living option.
How do
And
those assessments take place?
this could be a matter of a checklist, and of course, also, if people decide to go it on their own and do it as a family unit, that's one aspect. The second is, of course, there are professionals out there that can work with families. And
You link families to these professionals?
Yes, very
Yeah,
easily,
yeah,
yes.
Because it
Yes.
must be hard for a family to watch an aging parent and not really know what to do. I mean, when it happens, you may never have experienced this before.
Yes.
So if they reach out, they would reach out to you for planning and, the legal steps.
Right.
And then to you for the practical, the people who can help them actually live, practically speaking.
yes.
Yeah, and I think the practical steps comes first.
Yeah.
No one's rushing out typically to see the lawyer first. But there are legal aspects to it, and in Manny's case, and probably, and you can comment on, most seniors up in their 90s are likely in need of some supportive help living in their own homes. I mean, it's just incredible that he's there. And in Manny's case, he needs someone there 24/7. So that creates some coordination issues. And then the legal issue, how to pay for it. So
Right.
Deanna, how do you pay for that?
Well, some people are under that misconception sometimes that the insurance or Medicare covers it, and when it's long-term, those two factors are not in play. So when it comes to 24/7 care, it's either privately paying because you have the income to do so.
And who can afford that?
Right. Or supplementing with Medicaid. So it's getting yourself prepared because Medicaid has asset and income levels that you want to prepare yourself to apply for Medicaid and get that service in to help stretch the money a little.
So, in some ways, this is really a trial and error kind of process for families. Once you have the support lined up financially, I would imagine, Vicki, that sometimes it's not the best idea to keep someone at home, even though they may very much want to be at home. So what are some of the evaluative processes or the mistakes to avoid when you're thinking about this? How do you know? How do you approach the question? Because I imagine it's painful, but most people want to stay in their homes.
I'm going to say one word relevant to that in terms of mistakes, and I'm going to say the word sooner. Now, what does that mean? If I could count the times that people have said to me, I wish I knew about this service sooner. I wish I knew that this was available sooner. I wish I knew that there was somebody that could help me access into services sooner. that would be the biggest thing that I would say, is that you have to look at these things in terms of pre-planning.
I see.
And once again, I've heard the words, and people have said to me, I wish I knew about you sooner.
The problem is that the children don't know how to have the conversation with their parents. So their parents are doing what they believe is best for them, and they want their independence, and so they feel they can go it without help often, and the children do not know how to have the conversation. How do you help them in that situation?
There's definitely a conflict or a separation relevant to that. The greater generation talking to your baby boomers, basically, and then as we go down, your Gen Xers, and different philosophies. And the greatest generation, grew up in a different time and with different challenges, different rewards. But if you need to do it yourself or you need to engage somebody in the process, there are ways to access into that, and we call it in healthcare sometimes, a therapeutic white lie. I'm having a friend come over. I'd like you to meet, sit down, and you can actually start a process like that.
Right, right. Well, that's very, very helpful. Because I think there's that barrier that has to be overcome in terms of how to have the conversation with mom or dad, and make sure that we're all being respectful at the same time to our parents.
And it's really two steps. It's the kids getting themselves educated first, and then having the conversation as it's relevant, I think, with the parents.
Deanna, just quickly, because we're running out of time, I can't believe it. What should seniors be doing in advance? Do you have like a checklist of steps they might want to take?
They should, like Vicki said, this sooner aspect comes into play. So they should make sure sooner than later that they're doing their power of attorney, healthcare proxy, and living will, because those are the things that are going to give the family the opportunity to help them if they need it. And they really should be doing some type of planning, because there is this 5-year world if nursing home is needed, and the sooner you start that 5 years clock ticking, the better off you'll be. You'll be able to stretch your money further and protect more, so that your kids have it to use it if they need to help you.
So the message at the end here is everyone should be acting sooner and being realistic about life, because it's not going to happen to me. It only happens to someone else. I want to thank the two of you for sharing your insights and experience that you have working with seniors and their families.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And now we turn to Father Tony Staganelli for a spiritual reflection.
We've all heard that we are made in the image and likeness of God. Right from the very book of Genesis, we read that God said, "Let us make man in our image." And so in the divine image, he created him. Male and female, he created them. I believe that being in the divine image is more than just the fact that we as human beings are intelligent and have free will. Of course, having intelligence and free will does make us higher than the animals and the rest of creation. But our real image of God is in us because of our creativity. A creativity that is a power not meant to be exercised solo, but in communion, in community. And so God made them male and female and said, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and conquer it." Creativity, that's where the image of God within us resides, and our ability to create with others. We've seen this beautiful story, this inspiring story of Manny Silberman, and he shows us that no matter how old we are, that spark of divinity still resides within us because of our ability to create. Certainly we heard about how Manny met his wife in Mitchell Field, and they together created a family, obviously. And in his creativity was also able to be a mechanic on planes during the Second World War at Mitchell Field. But now even when all of our other capacities seem to be taken away from us, creativity is still there as the spark of the divine. And there he is creating in his own room his Legos. But his Lego legacy is more than just the models he's made. I believe it's the beautiful experience he shared with his family, who help him to create this together. Creativity is not a solo experience, but something we inspire within each other as his family inspires him to continue to create and continue to find joy in what he has made.
Manny is a great example of how seniors can live longer, stay at home, and still have a fantastic quality of life.
He was joyful and inspiring.
Yes, he was.
As was Linda. Everyone should hope to age as well as Manny. For a list of resources and legal services on elder care issues for families, please visit Vincent's law firm at vjrussolaw.com.
Thank you. And thanks to all our viewers for joining us. And remember, family truly does come first.